What's going on, guys? It's Michael and GF, and today I'm going to be doing another custom LEGO minifigure showcase video, this time on the Defenders. So we've got Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Danny Rand, the Iron Fist, all four of which were made in about a little over 3 weeks of on and off work, and I probably should have been working on the Thor Ragnarok and Justice League minifigures, but I really love the 8-episode season of the Defenders. It was so satisfying with all the crossovers and story arcs finally wrapping up after having followed all of the shows since they began with Daredevil Season 1 back in 2015, so I decided that these just absolutely had to take priority, and hopefully you can understand. I had a really great time making the 4 of these minifigures, and so, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so Daredevil being first up, of course. If you couldn't already tell, all 4 of the minifigures in this showcase are completely painted, no printed faces or anything this time around. Everything here is all entirely painted, and so this figure is definitely quite a step up from the original version I did back in 2015 for Daredevil Season 1. This time around, I've got way more 3D elements going on. It's much more accurate in general, and then also the cowl is obviously quite an improvement using Cyclops Bricks 3D printed cowl. So this started off as like a red 3D printed cowl, but I then applied like a thick layer of paint over, and then actually before that I sanded the sides down and the front because it was originally modeled to look like the Season 1 cowl, and obviously I needed to make it look like Season 2, so I had to sand those parts off, then apply a layer of thick paint to kind of go over that rough 3D printed look before applying or the rest of the paint and all the additional details. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And then also you can see that the mouth is fully painted. Like I just said, everything in the showcase is fully painted, so that of course does include the stubble, and stubbles are never fun to paint, so definitely time consuming and tedious, but I got it done. So there is that. And then I do want to mention as well that the torso design on the front and on the back and all the respective 3D elements are inspired by Phoenix Customs torso design from his Daredevil printed minifigure. He makes some awesome pad printed minifigures, so I'll drop a link to his store and Cyclops Brick store down in the description below. So yeah, then speaking of those 3D elements, you can see them not only on the front of the torso and all of them being fully painted, but also on the arms for the shoulder pads, and also with the little bits wrapping around the wrists. Those all turned out looking really awesome. One thing I did carry over from the original Daredevil that I made are these nightsticks. They are exactly the same from the 2015 variant. I would not have done anything different when making a new pair, so I decided that I would just grab these from the original rather than waste any time making new ones. So there is that. And then here's a quick look at the top of the helmet or cowl, whatever you want to call it, and so that detail is all there and is accurate. I actually based this off the Hot Toys figure, in case you're wondering. So there is that. And then also the legs, of course, featuring a wraparound design going around all 4 sides of the minifigure's legs. You can see this time I managed to fit on a lot more detail, being like with the like the knee pads. You got like the laces down on the boots there, but also you'll notice that I've got the holster for his nightsticks, obviously not to scale, but those were actually made from a couple of modified and cut up Lego antenna pieces, and then I glued them on, painted them, and you know the whole deal. So it definitely turned out looking really awesome, and I'm really happy with the way this minifigure turned out. Next up, Jessica Jones. This figure obviously being a bit more simplistic than Daredevil, but I'll tell you what was not simplistic, matching the likeness to Kristen Ritter. The first time around it looked okay, but something was really bothering me about it, and I took a second crack at it, and I'm really happy at the way it came out. The second time, I think I got really close to Kristen Ritter's likeness, and I'm super proud of it. So there is that. And then obviously the hairpiece, you've seen it before, but what I did do was sand down the inside of it, or at least like the front area, to make room for the scarf. And the scarf is actually inspired by Carlo Customs design. He showed this to me at Brick Fair. Pretty straightforward, pretty simplistic, but effective design. It's just basically a piece of Cape Madness fabric, but then cut to look like a scarf, and then obviously all the different wrinkle marks painted on there. So I'm really happy the way that turned out as well. And just to give you a quick look of what that looks like taken off of the minifigure, you can see I kind of have like the collar painted onto one side of it as well, but then it's, like I said, it's all cut and shaped to look like a scarf, and then it just goes over the minifigure like any other, you know, like cape or, you know, fabric accessory. So while we actually have it off, we can take a look at the torso design, and you can see I've got pretty much everything there. I would have used a 3-dimensional jacket like from Cape Madness, like an AR jacket like you've seen me do several times before. However, it wouldn't have worked if I wanted to also have the scarf, and then I couldn't sculpt the scarf either, because then the hairpiece had to go over it. So basically this ended up really being my only option, to do this and then just paint on her jacket. So I'm really happy with it, and I think it turned out looking really great regardless. And so there is that, all the zipper designs and everything, it's all there, and it does extend onto the belt a little bit. And you'll notice around the legs I do have several 3D elements on like the boots to represent the straps and buckles. That's all there. I've got several like tears in the jeans and like little like stains just like her actual jeans on the show. and then also you can see that does continue on to the side a little bit there. She has a pair of tiny tactical glove tops. Could not paint on her fingertips because honestly I'm never a big fan of doing that at all, because it just really doesn't seem to work out when you want to paint fingertips on the minifigures, regardless of how much sealant you put on. At some point, for me anyway, in my customizing career of 10 years, that paint's coming off. So you can understand why I decided to not do that for Jessica Jones and just give her a pair of straight black gloves, you know, straight black minifigure hands anyway. So then you'll notice that the camera is actually, it has like a larger lens, and that is just straight from Tiny Tactical. That is all that is. It's nothing too extravagant, but it is a fantastic piece that they offer, and it works amazing, and it looks fantastic when you equip it onto a minifigure camera. And so I think it works perfectly for Jessica Jones, and so that is pretty much it for this minifigure. Our third figure, Luke Cage, finally getting the chance to make this figure as well, was actually pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I actually got the likeness to Mike Colter like the first attempt, which was definitely pretty great. No third or fourth attempt like Jessica Jones. First try, I got it, and I was super happy about that. Now I'm sure you might be wondering, why did you put a Cape Madness jacket over what's supposed to be a hoodie? And the simple answer to that is, well, if you watch the second half of the Defender Season 1, you'll know that Luke Cage does actually put a jacket over his hoodie. For whatever reason, I don't know. I figure maybe, I mean, if he gets shot, it really won't matter. I don't know why he did it, guys, but I portrayed it on a minifigure, and it's a thing. And also, apparently these tags are Carhartt logos. Apparently that's a company. I don't know. I've never heard of it before, but somebody mentioned that in a comment on Flickr, and I didn't know that's what I was painting, but apparently that's what it is. So there is that, and there's a second one underneath the Cape Madness jacket here as well. And just to give you a look at what the minifigure looks like if I remove the hoodie, and you can tell that originally the jacket, it started off as a Cape Madness trench coat. However, I trimmed it up and basically cut the entire thing to conform to a Lego minifigure hoodie piece, and so I'm really happy the way that turned out, because if you know, as you've already seen, if you put the hoodie over this jacket, it really blends together nicely. And also you might notice that I skipped out on the Death Star Trooper legs designs for these minifigures, and I'll probably be skipping out on those designs for probably, you know, the foreseeable future, because yeah, that got a little excessive, I will admit. And you can see I do have the boots, or I guess the shoes, painted on there as well. And aside from that, that is pretty much it for Luke Cage, aside from one thing, and that's the mole. The entire first season of Luke Cage, I couldn't help but stare at the mole on the back of Mike Colter's head, and I actually put it on a minifigure. So, am I an asshole for doing that? Probably. But there he is. And finally, Danny Rand, the immortal Iron Fist, protector of Kunlun, sworn enemy of the hand. This figure also pretty straightforward, pretty simplistic, aside from getting the likeness to Finn Jones. And thankfully, I was also able to get this correct first try, similar to Luke Cage. However, it did take a little bit longer, as there is definitely a bit more to do here with his facial hair and all that stuff. But the first thing everyone's going to go straight to is the hairpiece. Why did you use the Superman hairpiece? It's not his hairstyle. It's not curly enough. Why didn't you use the Finn hairpiece? Well, that's not his hairstyle either. And also, as much as I appreciate all the feedback and the concern for how my minifigure looks, I couldn't seem to find any additional to give. So I ended up painting the rest of the figure, and obviously it is his green jumpsuit, and it definitely looks, you know, pretty straightforward, pretty simplistic, not too much to cover here. I tried some wrinkle designs on the legs. I think they turned out okay. And then also I do have his shoes painted on, and they wrap around all four sides of the minifigure as well. Practically nothing on his back. 3D cuffs for his wrists, however, and then also the trans yellow knockoff hand idea. Yeah, you heard that right. That is not an official minifigure hand. That's from D-Cool. That's actually an idea that came from my buddy Andy Delta Custom, so I'll drop a link to all of his whatever down in the description below. And so on that note, that is pretty much it for all of the minifigures in this showcase, guys, all of the Defenders, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. The Avengers have done everything they can to stop them, but then wait, he's bringing the building down. This will be our final broadcast. May God have mercy on us all. We have to help them. Let's go. What? How dare they? I am the immortal Iron Fist, protector of Kunlun, sworn enemy of the hand. Okay, guys, there you go. That is it for the Defenders Showcase. Thank you so much for sticking around for the whole thing. I really appreciate it. And if you're wondering if I'll be making additional figures like Elektra or maybe the Punisher for his series coming up in November, currently those are not on the table at the moment, but I would be open to hopefully maybe, you know, at some point fitting those in down the line. Punisher is definitely more likely than Elektra, but we'll see. You never know. Anyway, if you did enjoy this showcase video, maybe find yourself inspired to make your own minifigures from the series, and be sure to let me know by dropping this video a like below and or your opinion on these minifigures down in the comments. Anything you like or dislike about them. Seriously, you guys are the reason that I continue to do this so consistently on such a consistent basis and make custom minifigures such a big part of my life each and every day. So I seriously mean it when I say that. But aside from that, guys, you can totally follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Links to all three of those are always down in the description below. And if you're looking forward to my upcoming minifigures for Thor, Ragnarok, Justice League, The Last Jedi, Avengers, Infinity War, all in that order, you'll definitely see it all over there before it ever makes it to the channel here, which is why I always recommend that. Or you can also check out MGF Extra, the vlog channel, man. I sometimes post on there, but yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna go. At the time of recording this, actually haven't recorded the rest of the showcase. I don't actually record in order, if you didn't know, so I need to run and get some more photo paper to print out some background. So I gotta go. So I'll catch you guys later. Okay, bye-bye. Mr. Stark, did you feel that? I don't know what you're talking about, kid. At some point, for whatever... Fuck! What is it? They're guns. They're using special types of bullets.
Judas bullets? Oh, shit!
And for this video, we've got all of the Defenders from... the Defenders.